afternoon and welcome to Moorville Primary School and the launch of Sarah Griffiths' exciting new book, Sophie Spectacles. Just if there is a fire alarm, the fire exit is back out through the front door that you came in and onto the side of the building. It's a pleasure to be asked to host this event, especially as Sarah is a former teacher at this school. So please put your hands together for Sarah Griffiths and Sophie.
Wow. Thank you so much for coming today and welcome everybody, and it's so lovely for me to be back at Moorville Primary School as well. So, I'd like to welcome you to my wonderful book launch of Sophie Spectacles. This has been something that I have wanted to do since I was about 5 years old, so to be able to stand here today in front of all you amazing people feels absolutely fantastic. So thank you to everyone for all your support. I just want to say a big thank you to Christian Sharp, the head teacher, for hosting the event, and obviously Moorville Primary School, and also to some fantastic people who've helped me out this morning, and to Ambor as well, and Lisa for your fabulous cakes that I'm sure you'll be sampling later. So thank you to you. So my story is about a little girl called Sophie. Now, I wrote this story about Sophie when she was 7 years old, but she's actually 17 now, and hopefully she might be joining us later, so have a look out for Sophie. It's based on Sophie because she was always a little girl who was a bit of a perfectionist and couldn't see the good in herself, and it's based on myself as well. It's a story which is about transforming children's self-esteem. And there's a really special message to my story. It's all about if we can change the way we think, we can reach our dreams. So, as well as my story being about Sophie, it's also very special because it's part of a sponsorship project. Now, I had this idea back in June. Once I wrote the story, I just had this amazing feeling that I needed to get it out there as soon as possible. So I came up with an idea about a sponsorship project, and I thought, what's the best way that I could work with local companies to try and get my message across? And I have been absolutely overwhelmed with the support that I have received. I've been to network meetings, just through friends, and I've met the most amazing people that has brought me to today. So the sponsors of my project, many of them are here today, so I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you for coming along and to everyone for your support. Right then, are you ready to hear the story? Okay, so if you have a look on the table, I brought lots of props with me to bring the story to life. So I'd like you to meet Sophie. Would you like to give her a wave? So Sophie, as I said, she's a little bit of a perfectionist and really struggles to see the good in herself. She's good at everything. She's good at dancing, she's good at singing, she's good at drawing and writing stories. But it's only Sophie that can't see that. So she's going to help us to tell the story this afternoon. What else can you see on the table? Would anybody like to join in? What can you see, William?
Football.
There's a football, isn't there? So somebody in my story is very sporty. Anything else you can see, Abby? What can you see?
Glasses.
There's some special glasses, isn't there? Do you think these are Sophie's spectacles?
Yeah.
They are. They're Sophie's spectacles. Does anybody want to have a guess what might happen when she puts them on? What do you think might happen to her?
She sees the beauty in everyone in herself.
She sees something beautiful in herself. Wow. Is it Isla? Well done, Isla. Right, those are the spectacles. What else can you see on the table? What can you see?
I can see a trophy.
Fantastic. There's a trophy. So somebody has won a trophy for doing something amazing, haven't they?
My name is Brandy. I can see a crocodile.
You can see a crocodile. You're right. Well done. There's a crocodile puppet here. So I think somebody's a bit of an entertainer in my story. Do you think so? Yeah. What can you see here? Does anybody know what this is?
A magic hat.
Oh, it's a magic hat, isn't it? Another entertainer, maybe, in my story. And we've got some, if you can't see this very well, there's some poetry books and a storybook as well.
I can see that.
And then there's some magic tricks in here too. Fantastic. So, I've brought all these props with me so that I can bring my story to life. So I might ask some of you to join in different parts as well. So I hope you'll all join in with me to tell the story. So are you ready for Sophie's spectacles, everyone? Yeah. Yes, I'm so excited. Let's get Sophie. Sophie was a 7-year-old, a happy, bright young girl. She worked so hard to try her best, but her mind was in a whirl. Sophie wanted to be just perfect at everything she tried. She worked so hard and got upset, but her best was always inside. Can you see Sophie here? Can you see she's got these thought bubbles around her head and it's whirling round and round?
Glasses.
That's right, she's got glasses, hasn't she? And all those thoughts are going round in circles. I want to teach you about a gift. It's the best you'll ever hear. It all starts when you're little and begin to feel the fear. Now, Sophie was a perfectionist. Her writing was so neat, but she would always get extremely cross and never felt complete. Always finding something wrong. Oh, that doesn't look quite right. She'd push herself and work so hard. She'd try with all her might. Sophie listened to a little voice, the thoughts inside her head. That's no good. Oh, what have you done? And believed what it had said. So can you see everybody on here? She's got these thought bubbles saying rubbish, no good, bad, and all those swirls around her. That means that she keeps thinking the same thoughts going round and round. Does anybody here ever have those thoughts in their head? Sometimes I do as well. Sometimes we feel that what we're doing and we're not very good at it. But if we keep doing that, we're going to make ourselves feel worse, aren't we? And that's exactly what Sophie's doing. The lesson I will teach you will make you jump for joy. Get off your seat and shout, hooray, every girl and boy. It really will set you free. Please share it far and wide. You'll be the best that you can be. Feel happy on the inside. When you see with clarity, this secret becomes clear. You'll fly so high and reach your dreams. There is nothing else to fear. So in my story, there's a real special message in there. So children, what I'd like you to do is have a listen and see if you can tell me at the end what that special message is. It all started one day in class 2. Sophie was feeling stressed. The voice in her head on overdrive. She didn't feel her best. Class 2 had a supply teacher, but only for the day. When she walked into the room, she had something inspiring to say. So can you see Sophie sat here and she's feeling stressed? Does anybody know what it means to feel stressed? Isla, what does it mean? Good girl, you don't feel happy. You feel like your head might explode because you've got all these thoughts going around. Can you see? Those thought circles are still going round Sophie's head, aren't they? And then this teacher's walked into the room and she's got something inspiring to say. Does anybody know what inspiring means?
Yeah.
What does it mean, Gracie? Do you know? Oh, Sophie's spectacles needs to be inspired, doesn't she? Does anybody know what it means? It means we get excited. Somebody gets you excited about something and believes that you can do it, and then you believe that you can do it. My name is Miss Cookie, she said with sparkling eyes, a friendly face with dimples, and lines that made her wise. Today is a celebration. We all have a chance to shine. I'll go first and demonstrate, and you all get in line. Sophie felt dread inside. I don't know what to do. She looked around at all her friends and joined the back of the queue. So can you see Miss Cookie? She looks very happy, doesn't she? She's very excited about what's about to happen. And all of Sophie's friends look very excited, apart from Sophie. She feels dread inside. How does that feel, to feel dread inside? What sort of emotions might you feel? Jess, what do you think? Scared. Scared and worried. Good. So poor Sophie, She doesn't want to go first, does she? She's right at the back of the queue. Right, what I would like now are the 6 children that said they would be more than happy to come out and help me to read the story. So we should have Amelie, Alexander, Edward, Eliza, William and Abby. Would you all come to the front for me? Okay. Okay, if you stand here. So Amelie, if you have the book. Sweetheart, there we go. Eliza, if you put your hand in there for me. Get through there. So, put your hand in there without anyone seeing. Go, you hold it with that. We need, hold it. Can you hold that with that hand as well? Maybe the footballer. And you can be the storyteller. And then Abby, if you stand here a minute, you can have yours in a minute, okay? Fantastic. Thank you so much, children. So we've got Eliza at the end. She's going to be my Emily in the story, who's actually here today. Emily read a poem. She knew it off by heart. Such confidence and self-belief she gave right from the start. Okay, so that's Emily. Okay. William, can you hold that as well for me? And hold it up. Next in turn was Sporty Sam, captain of the football team. He played for Wolves under 10s. This really was his dream. Fantastic. Can you see Emily and Sam and how happy they look? Look, they're just resonating this beautiful confidence, aren't they? Emily knows her poem off by heart. Does anybody know what that means?
Yeah.
What does it mean, Isla? She doesn't need to read it, does she? She just knows it. She's very clever, isn't she? And look at Sam. He's a real sporting genius, isn't he? Look at that medal he's won. He's got his trophy. He's got his amazing ball skills, hasn't he? Fantastic. Let's go to the next page. Sorry. Okay. Your turn, George, Miss Cookie said. He began to tell a story. He changed his voice for characters and shone in all his glory. So this is George. So do you want to shine in all your glory, George? Fantastic. As more and more of Sophie's class performed for all to see, Sophie became anxious and said, "Oh, they're so much better than me. Oh, poor Sophie. She thinks they're all really good and she's thinking all those thoughts that she's not as good as them. But you are, Sophie." Okay, so if you just come here, Amelie. There we go. If you come over this side, and then if we just have Eliza this side, okay? And then Alex, we come here. Fantastic. Just go to the next page. Okay. Next came Jack. Alexandra too. So Jack is doing some entertaining with his puppets. Can you entertain us, Jack?
Hello.
Fantastic. And then we've got Alexandra, who's actually Eliza. She's going to do a magic trick. Can you make something come out of your magic hat? Should we all say abracadabra after 3? 1, 2, 3. Abracadabra. Oh, give her a round of applause. Fantastic. Next came Jack, Alexandra too, Marcus and then Molly. They all had something different to share. Then came Joe and Holly. So look at all these wonderful children sharing their amazing gifts with everyone and how happy they are. Just look how it's shining from them. And poor Sophie, how do you feel, Sophie? You look very worried. Are you worried? No. Can you give all the children a big round of applause? Thank you. So if you'd all like to go and sit down, apart from Sophie, you stay there, Sophie. Thank you. Thank you, Emily. Miss Cookie took Sophie's hand. "Let me help you, my dear." I have some special spectacles that make everything so clear. Sophie took off her glasses and put on these new specs. Wow. It only took a moment to see what took effect. Wow. As Sophie held the spectacles and placed them round her ears, what she saw was magnificent. The fear then disappeared. So all that time, Sophie's been feeling all this dread and this worry and this anxiety, and she's put on these spectacles and it's all just disappeared and gone away. Wow, should we give Sophie a big round of applause? Abby. Are you okay to stay there, Abby? Yeah, fantastic. She saw in all its splendour a truly wondrous sight. All her friends lit up the room with an inner guiding light. Auras dazzling around them, pulsing in rhythm and glowing. The energy field, so powerful, was connected to them and flowing. So imagine you put on your magic spectacles and looked around the room at all this beautiful light connecting each other with our amazing gifts that we have to share with everybody. So we celebrate ourselves, but we celebrate each other. The glasses had given Sophie a gift. They opened a new dimension. They took away the worry she felt and all of the terrible tension. Sophie looked into the window, and what she saw in the reflection was the beauty from within that shone back in the projection. So Sophie has learned to see her inner beauty. Isn't that amazing, with those fantastic glasses? Wow. Sophie felt a special light resonating from her face. Her smile of beauty lit up the room with authenticity and grace. Sophie talked about her friends and about her family, about the bond with others, her strength for all to see. Wow, Sophie, you're pretty amazing, aren't you? Do you know that Abigail is actually Sophie's little sister? So that's why she wanted to be Sophie today. So it's really special that you've done that for me, Abby. She realised that with these specs, it made it plain for all. Sophie's kindness was her gift, which made her stand so tall. As Sophie looked at her class, she felt their inner flame. Georgie, Grace, Tom and Sam, she would never be the same. The glasses see what we can't see. It's invisible to the eye. But when you feel the energy, your self-esteem will fly. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Does it feel amazing with those glasses on? Wow, well, it looks amazing. It feels like a vibration, energy moving from within. Realising our true potential sends our universe into a spin. We all have gifts that make us shine, all different from one another. We must believe we are good enough and celebrate each other. So Sophie was given these special specs to make her understand. We can do anything we choose to do. It's all in our own hands. Believe in yourself, aim so high, give your gifts to all. Make it count, this is your time. One life, so stand up tall. Wow, so that is my story of Sophie's spectacles, and it's been so wonderful to be able to share it with everybody, and you're the first people to hear it be performed, so thank you so much. Thank you to Abby as well. Thank you. Would anybody like to share a favourite part, any of the children? So I'd love to hear it. What was your favourite part?
My favourite part when all the friends came up.
Oh, when all the friends were together and they were sharing their special gifts. Oh, that's so lovely. Isla, what was your favourite?
She saw the self-esteem and when she saw the beauty in herself and others.
She saw the beauty in herself and all her friends. Fantastic. Wonderful. Right, as this is a part, not as just a story, it's part of a workshop that I'm going to be doing as well. It's part of a project. I've got a real special presentation that nobody's seen before that I would love to share with you. And I want to show you just how amazing it is when we know what self-esteem is. So it's going to teach you a little bit about that, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about my project. So I hope you enjoy it.
What is self-esteem? Self-esteem is how we feel about ourselves. Knowing how important we are in the world. Why is it from? Why don't you think it's from?
Start again.
I did. He looked ridiculous. What is self-esteem? Self-esteem is how we feel about ourselves. Knowing how important we are in the world. Find how important others are in the world. Being happy with ourselves is so important. There are lots of things in life that are important to be happy with our self-esteem. Looking after our health and fitness. Relationships with others. Enjoying our life. Enjoying school life. Being part of our community. Working on our personal development. Connecting with others. Learning to see the richness in our life. Having fun and doing what you love. You will deserve to be happy and feel better. We look for the good in every area of our life. We can achieve it. We are all amazing.
Okay, so that's my first presentation that I will be rolling out with my workshops, and I've been working in collaboration with the very talented Jo Meakin, who's here today. So thank you so much, Jo, for your help. And Isla, her daughter, that's her voice. It's amazing. So thank you to Isla as well. So really what I want to get my message across today is what self-esteem is. It's really how we see ourselves and our importance in the world, and also how we see others in our lives. As an experienced teacher, I witnessed a lot of children struggling with their own self-esteem. Children wouldn't want to join in class discussions, they would constantly compare to others, maybe wouldn't want to join in sporting activities. But I think what it really boils down to is that children just don't feel good enough sometimes. So working on my own self-esteem led me to a very talented man called Dr. Joe Rubino, and he's an internationally acclaimed author and expert on self-esteem. And I read 2 of his books, and after those books I had a light bulb moment, and I thought, wow, really the key to our happiness in our lives is understanding firstly what self-esteem is, and then secondly how we can build our own. So it's those 2 things that I want to share with children. I want to use that wisdom and share that through my stories and my workshops. So, adults in the room, what I'd like you to do is, I'd like you to go back to being 7 years old like Sophie. And children, you can join in too as well. So, we're all 7 years old. Imagine you'd been asked to come to the front of the class, and you'd been asked to read something out or do some kind of performance like in the story. Can you remember how you felt? Were you shy? Were you nervous? Did you feel dread like Sophie? Or were you quite excited and quite happy to do that? Excited, amazing. So imagine if you'd heard Sophie's spectacles at 7 years old, and imagine what maybe you'd be doing now. So my purpose is to be an advocate for children. I want to support them and teach them that they can make a real difference in their lives. We're all responsible for our own thoughts, and what we focus on grows. So I can teach children daily healthy practices that give them a positive impact for now and for their futures. One of the reasons why I felt so strongly that this needed to happen was children as young as 4 were showing signs of anxiety and panic attacks. I think if we speak out about well-being at a young age, it becomes the norm for children. And also, when children get to secondary school age, unfortunately, some of the damaging things have been done. We realise as well that part of the problem with mental health is the stigma that is attached to it. So my programmes need to be introduced at a young age so that children can learn, and it's a way of being and a way of living. So let me ask you some questions. When you get up in the morning, are you worried about the new day ahead? Or do you get excited? Do you look for the golden opportunities? And that's really what my practices are all about, is giving children those tools to use every day. It focuses their mind to expect happiness, success and prosperity. Obviously there'll be challenges along the way, but children, they build resilience and they have the tools to deal with experiences in their life and how to learn from them instead of seeing the negative effect that they can have. So my vision is that every child in primary schools has a copy of Sophie's spectacles or access to, and that my workshops are embedded into the curriculum. Teaching children self-awareness and daily practices, children begin seeing a vision of the future that they want and understand how they can get there. So I've actually written my second story in the series, which is called Jack and the Genie, which will be out next year, and that's all about visioning your dream future. So I can't wait to share that with you soon. I've also been working with a talented team at Zen Communications, and they have very kindly offered their PR support with my project. They've also offered me support with a campaign so that I can connect with the right people, government officials and organisations to get my message out there. So I'd like to say a massive thank you to them. Unfortunately, Felicity couldn't be here in a team, but a massive thank you to them for their help. But I would now like to say a special thank you to all the sponsors of my project, of which many of you are here today. So please put your hands together. Should we do that at the end? I'll just read everybody's name out first. So Andy Rayo from Key 3 Media. Thank you, Andy. Lorna McCann from Lorna McCann PR. Thank you to Lorna. Paul Delahaye from Tutor Dr Telford. Thank you, Paul. Faith Strangwood from Ironbridge Training Consultants. There she is. And Phil Edmonds from Seven Intervention Services. Thank you to Phil. Some of the sponsors of the project couldn't be here today. Sue Miller, who heads up Team Author UK. It's been a massive impact on my story, so thank you to her. Also, we've got two fantastic people from Specsavers in Telford who couldn't be here. That's Riz and Vinny. Mike Barrett from Mike Barrett Financial Services and Nigel West from 5 Ways Insurances as well. So all those people have made a real big impact on my project. So please put your hands together for all of the sponsors. So now I'd just like to ask you, is there a Sophie in your life? Or maybe you're like Sophie. You like Sophie. Is there a passion in you just waiting to escape? Or do you know a child that would benefit from hearing this story? So I'm inviting you to tell your friends this tale about Sophie and her magic spectacles, and to help a Sophie in your life realise their gifts. I want you to start a conversation in your homes about celebrating our gifts with the world. Instead of watching television, why not tell your vision? Imagine if we all did that, what an amazing world it would be. So in a moment, there'll be an opportunity to come over and say hello to me. There's the books are available over there to buy as well. And I'd love for you to come and say hello and just tell me what you thought about the story. There's also some fantastic refreshments available. And any money raised is going to go to School Fund and Children in Need. Fantastic. But finally, I want to leave you with a question. If you could do anything you dreamed of, what would you do? Thank you.